Good morning and welcome to Klingspor's Woodworking Shop 20th anniversary and annual Woodworking Extravaganza.
Virtual.
I am Mike Z. Joined with me is Chris, and today we're going to be talking Arbortech, which Arbortech all week long is 10% off. So make sure you get your power carving accessories this week with Arbortech and save 10%.
And Mike, I missed you yesterday. Where were you?
So there was apparently an issue that was beyond our control called the internet, and it wasn't working.
Yeah, that stinks.
So we apologize to everyone out there who's looking forward to those. Now, luckily, Wednesday, a lot of those have been rescheduled too. So Earl X will join us Wednesday. Cutsall will join us Wednesday. And I feel like I'm forgetting somebody.
Well, we might have a little snippet of some Morris Schlesinger turning a salt and pepper shaker, possibly.
Yeah, I see. And of course, we have Tim Sway on Wednesday, but I don't think there's anything rescheduled from yesterday for Wednesday other than those two things. So, yep, that's right, Morris. Okay, so without further ado, if you have any questions, we will be joined with Paul here shortly, and he's going to be answering any of your Arbortech questions. But Chris, you want to go ahead and shoot through real quick what's on sale before we start the video?
Sure, I've got a few things here that you might notice Paul used in his video. We have the 4.5-inch angle grinder from Fine, not necessarily on sale, but if you're going to get into some of this power carving like Paul's going to demonstrate in a moment, this is definitely a go-to item. And we've got that available right there. Most of these tools, like this wheel, will fit on there perfectly. And you'll find that he's using this wheel to carve out rough out most of the hatchet. And that will certainly be used. This particular product is nice. You have 3 carbide teeth on there that are very sharp. And you'll find this does a great job for removing a lot of that heavier material. This also works if you're trying to dish out parts, dishes, bowls, trays, things like that. And he also will be using the power carving ball gouge. This is another cool tool, and you can see significant savings on that particular product. So those are 2 things he's going to be using in the video. And but again, all of Arbortech is on sale, and you can see here we've got quite the cool little setup here. So if you're looking to get into it and you've already got a grinder, we can hook you up with the individual components. But if you want something to get started and you don't have a grinder, this little Arbortech power system here is fantastic. So let's get it over to Paul, I guess.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Chris. And here we are with the show.
All right, good morning. Welcome to Klingspor's Woodworking Shop live extravaganza demonstrations. My name is Paul Rolfe. I will be your demonstrator today. I have been carving for over 40 years. I was trained as a traditional wood carver, meaning that I use 90% of the time I'm using gouges driven by mallets or by hand. And most of it is all hand work, done that kind of a European style carving. Just recently finished a commission for a crucifix, so that type of work that I'm normally doing. But today I'm going to be demonstrating using power tools. And so you're wondering why a traditional wood carpenter has been using power tools, but the answer is really simple. To save time. Power tools remove a lot of waste when you're trying to produce something quickly and efficiently. Power tools are a thing to turn to because they will give you a quick result. The only danger that because you're removing wood so quickly, you can also move too much wood quickly, and before you know it, you've made a mistake and taken off so much wood. So you need to feel comfortable about where you're going, where the end result lies, so that you can learn to pull back and stop. And then the work that I'll be doing today is mostly with the power tools just to remove the waste off of this project. Then we will or later I will go in with the hand tools and refine the shapes and further define and get the finished texture on. The power tools will not be leaving a finished texture that I'm after. They could, in some projects, leave that texture that you want, but in my case, this one will have to be finished up with hand tools. So the tools that I'm going to be using today are made by Arbortech. The power tools are driven in angle grinders, such as this, 4.5-inch angle grinders. There's 3 different ones that I'll be using today. The first one the first one I ever had is the industrial wood carver. It is a round disc with 3 carbide teeth around the perimeter of the edge of the blade. The thing I like about this tool over other type of grinding tools most of the times is that these carbide teeth actually cut the wood. They leave behind a carved texture rather than an abraded texture. So the finishing process is a lot easier to do, to clean up after what the power tools do. These carbide teeth that are on the disc, once you use them for a while, they can actually be loosened and rotated to expose a fresh, sharp edge, and you tighten them back up and you get right back to work. You don't have to replace them. Eventually, you will need to replace them. But this industrial wood carver does a couple of things. Number one, it will cut straight down into the wood and remove the wood quickly into a groove type of thing. Or you can lay it on its side and remove as much or as little bit of wood as you want. It'll take tiny shavings or thin shavings off, or it'll go down deeper and remove a lot of wood off the surface as well. If you want to remove more wood off the surface, the tool that you would use instead is a turboplane. This also has 3 carbide teeth, but they are long-edged cutters in the disc that spin around, and it's designed to remove a lot of wood quickly from the surface of the wood that you're carving on. The third tool that I'll be demonstrating is called the ball gouge. I don't have that mounted on there, but eventually I will mount it. It's a spherical tool with a ring of carbide around it. This tool is great for going in and doing contours in hollow areas. This is a project that was completed a couple of years ago using the Arbortech tools to rough it out. Both the industrial wood carver and the turboplane were used to give the rough shaping. Ball gouge was used to come in and find the details between the shapes between here. It also was able to come up in between the arms of the figure and clean this area out in here. So doing this by hand, this is all ingrained into this walnut, doing this by hand would have taken much more time. The ball gouge was made quick work of taking that out. The project that I'm working on today is out of butternut, and it's a 4-inch thick piece of butternut that will eventually become a hat and coat rack. You can see what it is it's a hatchet that this is the trunk of a tree, a branch coming off that tree and another branch coming off that then morphs into the handle of the hatchet. And then the head of the hatchet, the tip of it goes back into the trunk again, so it completes the circle around. The hatchet that I'm using as a model is this hatchet here. I just like the shape and the sculptural aspects that this hatchet has. The thing I don't like about it is the straight handle. So instead I have had a curved handle for the hatchet rather than the straight one, just to give it a little bit more shape. The first thing I'm going to do, and what I've done is marked off the blank. First it was sawn out on the bandsaw and the inside, then I drilled holes through the center here. It allowed me to get a long 6-inch jigsaw blade and cut out, remove the waste from the inside in here. So the first thing I'm going to do is, obviously all of this material out here is all waste. I have marked it off roughly just so you can kind of see what the shape of it is going to be. This is the tip of the hatchet coming into the trunk of the tree, and the hammerhead protruding up here. Here's where you'll be able to hang a hat, and on the branch that comes out you'll be able to hang a coat from it. So the first step is to define, I'm going to make a cut with the industrial wood carver into here and into here to separate this wood from what will be the trunk. And then I'll use the turboplane to remove most of the bulk of that material out there. One thing about power carving, especially when you're working with removing a lot of waste is that you generate a lot of waste. And so expect to make a lot of waste. So you'll have need to keep your area clean, but also protect yourself with different, number one, wear a respirator, and then over top of the respirator, I have a face shield to keep the debris from coming into my eyes or face. The last thing I wear is, because these cutters produce chips rather than sawdust, and they come off that wood surface at a very high velocity, so they'll be constantly coming back onto my arms. So I have some nice long gloves here that I'll wear over my arms to protect my hands and wrists and the lower part of my arms from that flying debris. So get the safety gear in place. Start with a mask. I love these. This is an Eclipse mask, great for dust protection. I like it because it's a small profile, doesn't have the big canisters hanging out the side. Fits on snugly. And then the face shield. Eventually, when I get down to the details, if I need to wear my glasses, I can feel like I can still put my glasses on underneath of the face shield. But the first cut will be made with the industrial wood carver. And what I'm going to do is cut straight down in here. We're just going to get this up.
By the way, there's still volume for it. It's just that not in the video per this part because of the sped up. So there's still audio. It's still going. But if you have any questions for Paul regarding the carving today, please feel free to comment below. He will see them as he will join us here in a little while.
And you'll probably notice that Paul's going from the ball gouge back to the wheel and then back to the ball gouge again.
Okay. All right. This next session, we're going to carve out the bowl of a spoon. There's lots of different ways to carve spoons. And the determining factor which method you use depends a lot on the kind of wood that you're using. If you're using a knife, for instance, it's best to have either softwoods or a green wood so that can be carved well with the with a knife with a hand strength. With hardwoods, I generally prefer to use a gouge and a mallet to carve out the bowl of the spoon, and it goes very, very quickly with that. The only limitation to that is that I have to have a workbench. If you're carving a spoon with a knife, with a curved knife, you can do it anywhere. You can hold the spoon in your lap, and you can do it right wherever you happen to be sitting. Whereas I'm pretty much tied down to a workbench because I have to have a hand on the two hands are occupied. One is driving the mallet into the gouge, and so that the spoon has to be tied down. The third way of carving is with power. Now this is Bubinga, this spoon. I would not want to carve this spoon with a knife. In fact, I would be very surprised if someone could go all the way through carving a Bubinga spoon with a knife. My hat would be off to them for sure, and their sore hands in the process. Even with a gouge, it could certainly be done with a gouge a whole lot better and a lot faster, but it's still tough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Arbortech ball gouge to carve out the bowl of the spoon. It's going to go very quickly. The nice thing about the ball gouge, particularly on a hardwood like this, is it's going to leave a carved texture, which I can leave just as it is by itself without having to do any sanding or extra polishing or touching up or so forth. So putting the spoon blank into the vise, leaving it up just a little bit. Going to do this inside of the bowl with the ball gouge. The ball gouge has a carbide ring around it that spins around and carves in nice contoured shapes. I just recently rotated that ring, so hopefully I have a nice edge on there. Okay. Due to the rotation of the ball gouge, I want to make sure that it rotates downhill so I don't lift any fibers and particularly lift up the wood on the rim of the spoon. So if it's rotating this way, then it's cutting downhill on the rim here, but it's carving up here, and so I run the risk of breaking a splinter also. Simply to avoid that, I just turn it around and come from the other direction. Also want to frequently check the depth of how deep we're going so we don't come through the bottom of the spoon. All right. This next project is a Manzanita root burl slab. Manzanita grows out on the western part of the country. The tree itself is protected, but you can go in and harvest, if you have a permit, go in and harvest the roots and the stuff that is from the dead trees. So the Manzanita, the roots have this burl pattern on them and just gorgeous color to them. When you finish them, the root color really comes out. But being a root burl, sometimes you get surprises inside of them. This particular one is pretty solid. There may be bark inclusions or places where bugs have got into them. Or what I'm going to do with this flat slab, after I did actually flatten it and I've sanded it up through through grits up to used the Klingspor fusion pad up to like 3200 grit. So it's a very, very shiny, very fine surface here. I want to carve out 2 small bowl depressions in this. Now, this Manzanita is pretty hard. It's a very hard, dense wood to work with, but it's well worth the effort to doing it. So I'm going to carve 2 little bowls in it, just to put whatever someone wants to put on them. So this will be a larger, deeper bowl here. And this one here, there's a small spot when I get into it, but I'm going to carve it anyway. If it's something that I find objectionable, and then I might be just it'll be an opportunity to enhance it with epoxy, with a filler or color or some sort. So I'm going to use, again, using the ball gouge on this. And I have this clamped to this backer board here so that I don't have to worry about putting clamps on the piece itself as I'm working on it. So it's secured as I go. Okay. We carved out the bowl of this Bubinga spoon with the Arbortech ball gouge. Now we're going to shape the outside of the spoon a little bit.
So we hope you've enjoyed that. That was Paul Roth. He is our resident carver. He was also the Raleigh store manager for the Klingspor's Woodworking Shop in Raleigh for several years. Teaches a lot of classes, a lot of for beginners, advanced, and expert classes. So we were glad to have him be able to make that video with us to show off some of the Arbortech.
Yeah, and just in case you're curious, we mentioned earlier some of the Arbortech items. They're all on sale. If you go to our website, it's real easy to find. If you go right to the very bottom, let me just show you here real quick. If you come all the way down here and click on the Shop by Brand label, and then once you do that, you can narrow your results by Arbortech under manufacturer, and it'll bring up most of the items we carry. Now, there are items that they offer that may not be online. If there are, certainly give us a call at 800-228-0000, and we'll be more than happy to get pricing and availability on those items. But Arbortech offers a full line of different power tools and accessories, and they've got some really cool new tools. One of the items we were talking about using but didn't is this new turbo shaft. This is mounts onto an angle grinder and has these small cutters right on the end, so ideal for doing some of those little things, maybe even like what Paul was doing with the spoon. But they've got some other items here. Like I said, they've got a complete kit with the Arbortech power carving unit. Some of the other items they have is this new contour sanding attachment. It also mounts right onto your angle grinder, and this has got a very unique setup. It's got a cushiony pad that's mounted on the end, and that allows you to get very, very tight into those very contoured areas. Like if you're doing faces or 3D shapes or models, I could see some opportunity here for a lot of different applications for this. So check out the Arbortech line. They've got a lot of things from your larger pieces down to your small and everything in between. Good little company with some very great products.
Yep, absolutely. Arbortech is fun. They're always a blast when they come out to the Extravaganza, but just a reminder, 10% off on all Arbortech products happening for the rest of this week and month. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment in the video below and we will get to them. But as always, we appreciate you watching. If you'd like a quick rundown of all of the specials that we have them in the very beginning video, and we will do them again later today. But basically, a lot of everything that we have is 10% off or 15%, including Klingspor abrasives, which if you hadn't tried Klingspor abrasives yet, now's a great time to get in on that with 15% off. And if you haven't tried our router bits, USA made, 15% off.
Yep. You're not dealing with just some drive-by company here. Klingspor abrasives have been in business since, the late 1800s. So that's a long term of being able to put out quality abrasives, and they're known worldwide for those industrial abrasives. So.
That's correct. Since 1893, Klingspor abrasives has been in business. So that's 126 years now. And then Klingspor's Woodworking Shop is celebrating its 31st anniversary in business. So with our 20th annual Woodworking Extravaganza, 31 years in business, working with a company that's been in business for 126 years, there's a little bit of a reputation behind that we can stand behind.
Yep.
So once again, thank you so much for watching. We hope you join us at our 1 o'clock time slot, where today we will be talking with Fuji and watching an unboxing video with our very own Jack Hastings.
And if you've never seen Fuji, or maybe you've been thinking about HVLP, this is a fantastic quality line that's got a lot of different accessories, and so well worth chiming in and check it out later.
Yep. And then if you have any questions based on if you have a Fuji system or are thinking about it, now's the perfect time to ask the Fuji team all of your technical questions live.
Yep. And Mike, we can't forget what's happening this afternoon. This is going to be an exciting time at 3 o'clock.
At 3 o'clock, is there something exciting happening?
There is. We have the world famous Andy Berkey coming in and talking about the Shaper Origin.
That's right. The Seymour Make Better team is going to be here, and they're going to be talking about the Shaper Origin and how they use it. And I'm really hoping, and I mean really hoping, that they get to show the coolest project he's ever done with it.
Well, I'll just say this. Most of you may not have known we sold Shaper.
That's right. We are now a Shaper Origin dealer. If you have not seen a Shaper Origin, definitely check out the 3 o'clock due to the fact that it's the first handheld CNC router.
Yep. So we're, I guess, a full line CNC company now.
Awesome. Is there a CNC expert people could call in order to find out more information if they had questions based upon their CNC?
There is. We don't have an extension for them though.
Oh, okay. But it's this guy right here.
Sure.
I was going to point you out.
Yep. Well, you call me out there on national TV
You're welcome.
or whatever this is.
Worldwide, baby.
Yeah. But no, seriously, today we got a great lineup of products, covers a wide array of things. You know, Paul had his power carving this morning, Fuji spray, and then the Shaper Origin. What makes that Shaper Origin unique is if you've got a small shop or maybe you do a lot of stuff on a job site, that is a perfect tool for you because it allows that portability and it takes up so little room. And unlike a traditional CNC, this allows you to take the tool to your project and go right there. So if you're a hardwood floor installer, hey, and you're doing a huge inlay, this is a tool for you. So anyway, check it out today at 3. Check out later today again at 1 for the Fuji, and keep checking out the rest of the week. We've got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of great deals.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see you again back here at 1 o'clock.